All right, everyone. A few days ago, the Prime Minister of France vowed to begin cracking down on the Yellow Jacket protesters, giving harsher penalties for unauthorized, sort of get-togethers. Like when they're, organizing and holding a march or whatever, you have to get like licenses and shit. I've always thought this was funny that in the United States, in some places, you have to do that too. Like you have to get like a license, a permit to protest. I'm thinking to myself, that doesn't seem to be within the constitutional boundaries of what the government's supposed to be doing. Like the federal government can't force you to do that. The federal government can't say, well, you need a permit. You take a ticket and wait your turn and get a permit and stuff. Now I understand orderliness is necessary, but generally speaking, wouldn't it be better like if two groups of protesters are like extreme and they're gonna fight? Let them fight. Who fucking cares as long as you're defending the bystanders? And, it's not like once people begin throwing rocks, they really care about the fact that you have a permitting process anyway, so to speak. And then you get instances where you've got a fully legal permitted protest and they still get attacked, like you remember Charlottesville devolving into chaos because Antifa showed up mainly. Before that, it had been largely a bunch of like college liberals shouting down like 20 Nazis. It was really funny. Well, not funny, but but here's the thing. This shows a marked misunderstanding by the French political system, I think, of the situation. And we've seen this throughout Europe anyway. The problem is the Yellow Vest protests have metastasized now to a significant extent and are a general referendum on various forms of corruption that people perceive of. They could end up with this becoming as large as like the Occupy movement was here, which, yeah, melts away and dies off, but it takes a fucking year before it does that. That would be pretty bad for France now, wouldn't it, if Paris could shut down over and over the course of the coming months. And it could very well happen. Wait till the weather is nicer. Wait till it's not the middle of fucking winter and you've got half a foot of snow on the ground and some crazy shit like that. I think more people might show up to your protests at that point. To try to bully and antagonize protests that have been, in some instances at least, shrinking in size might cause them to grow again. Remember when Jupiter himself, Macron, their president, came out and said, well, you're all a bunch of thugs and shit. It caused the protest to grow. People thought that was out of touch. It was antagonistic, and so they took to the streets, including people that originally were going to side with the protesters, but then they're like, well, our political system's fucked. Might as well protest, everything's falling apart. This could threaten to do the same thing, because when you come out and say, well, your qualms are illegitimate, what you're saying I don't want to hear, and I'm going to throw you in jail or give you increasing fines for bothering to protest at all, that gets at least younger, more activistic people generally quite angry. Like it happens here. Remember when we had anti-war protests and shit like that, and then Bush started introducing free speech zones? And how big the rigmarole was around that, and how protests began to grow at that time for quite some period until Bush basically became a recluse because he started losing popularity. Remember that? Free speech zones, and which are unconstitutional, although they're still employed for some dumbass reason. If I had to guess, I'd say, well, Macron's popularity is like sub 20% still. Now, and he obviously doesn't want to resign or anything, but he doesn't have any mandate to do anything. Even the political system won't work with him. What about your prime minister now is basically going to end up in the same boat, I guess. It's quite interesting. Generally speaking, it was funny to see earlier on, though, when the legacy media decided to be a attack dog for Macron's people and declare that the Yellow Vest protesters were just a bunch of far-right evil Nazis. And it's like, no, if you look at what some of them are demanding, it's actually far left. But it's a populistic far left. They're tired of post-national authoritarianism. They want more leftism, actually. Their beef partially is with the German-style leadership of the European Union. It's really funny. I'm not sure. I'm sure that the French people, at least deep inside, even those that wouldn't be willing to admit it, look askance to having basically been taken over by Germans again. You have basically a Vichy government or something at the point. At that point, it's quite interesting. I think that the Prime Minister and President of France should probably both resign. I think the French political elite should all go. But the thing is, these people are so entrenched that that's unlikely to happen. See, they have the guns behind them, so to speak. If you had the same problem here, there'd be more resignations more quickly, potentially speaking, than you have in a European country where people have been denied the ability to defend themselves in their country against all forms of tyranny, both domestic and foreign. Here we still try to do that, although they're steadily trying to get rid of that ability because they want to brutalize people, which is what gun control really is about. But the French political system is shot to hell. I mean, it's not even just France. It's the European Union too. The problem is you're going to have economic problems all over Europe anyway because you keep throwing people into the same currency. You have one country that's massively wealthy and one that's extremely poor by, maybe European standards at least. And they're trying to share the same, currency, and it's just crazy. They have free movement, which can give brain drain to one country and deprive maybe lower level workers of positions in more developed countries. And it's just a fucking freak show of a system. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It really doesn't. I'd say the European Union is still slowly crippling itself. It's funny, didn't Nigel Farage just came out the other day where some European leader was like threatened or something, and now they're introducing all sorts of laws, and Farage came out and said, well, I was threatened and attacked all the time. Nobody did jack shit about it then. It's only when the lame streamers feel the pressure that all of a sudden you need this police state bullshit. Oh yeah, just be like if Silicon Valley started to censor neoliberal voices, very quickly you'd see Congress cracking down on that. Trust me, it's the same fucking shit. That's about all. Peace out.